Okay guys, here's part 2 here of the Mustang. Like I said, extremely unsuccessful with flaparons on the F4F. I read and heard that it could not be done, and I truly believe that now, just simply because I am using ailerons, elevator, rudder, and throttle. I'm using up all my available resources on that small ar500 receiver. So, on my Mustang, when I got this, I chose in the first place not to hook up the rudder. I left the rudder solid. I've had no problems with it as far as trim. Left it in there. I don't use a lot of rudder, really, especially on this plane. So I went ahead and set it up with flaparons for you guys and a little bit of aileron or a little bit of elevator at the same time when I hit the flap switch. So let me grab a battery here, and I'll go ahead and hook her up for a second. Got the receiver on. Everything's set back here. I'm going to set it down real quick. Hold on. Okay guys, I'm just using a little battery there just to show you guys. That's not the batteries I use in it, but okay, I've got my radio on. I'm using a DX6i and an AR500 receiver. And I'll try and get you a close-up on the flaps. Now, I did program this to use the flap switch simply because, remember, I do not have the rudder installed in this, or rudder servo. So on my receiver, I had an open slot, which was not in use. So I used that. I took the Y connector off of the ailerons, the two aileron servos coming in, put one into the aileron slot and one into the rudder slot. I then went into my mixing and did the programming there, and this is what I got here. So I'll show you when I hit the flap switch. Flaps go down, both sides. Okay. And when the flaps are down, I still have full control, just like I should, of everything. Hit the flap switch, and flaparons are back up, and I am back to normal control. Now, the elevator, what I was talking about there, and hopefully you guys can see this, when I hit my flaps again, if you watch the elevator, you'll see that it flicked up a little bit. Now, that's just to give me a little bit more lift. That's just a smart thing to do to avoid tip stalling when you're coming in, especially with flaparons. You wanna mix that in. That's not a difficult thing to mix in. I am going to have to do another video to show you guys how to program it, but I wanted to show you the setup first. So then I shut it off, and elevator goes back down into the normal position. So we got everything working here. Ailerons, elevator, like I said, no rudder. And back it up here and give you one more little demonstration. Flaparons are down, and still have your full control to control the plane as you're coming in. I do have this set on high throws right now. I'll turn that down a little bit. There's my high throws actually, so I can get a little bit more if I need it. I don't know how this is going to react. So put it back on low throws, and once again, there are the flaparons. So, shut those off. Return back to position. And so as long as you've got an open channel, if you're willing to sacrifice and not use a rudder, lock a rudder into place, or if you have this Mustang here and have not installed a rudder or rudder servo, you can do flaparons on the AR500 by one aileron wire into the aileron port and one aileron wire into the rudder port, and doesn't matter which one you put where, and you can get the flaparons on the Mustang. However, sorry guys, I know a lot of you wanted it on the F4F, and the only way that's going to happen is by upgrading the receiver if you got the bind and fly version or the ready to fly or anything like that. So basically, if you've got an AR500 receiver on the F4F, you're not going to get flaparons. Trust me, I've done a lot of work and a lot of research trying to do it, and it just doesn't work out. So on the AR500, on the Mustang, if you haven't used your rudder servo and your rudder port, you'll have full flaperons on this thing and be able to come in with mine. I know mine's going to weigh a lot more than stock when I'm done with my mods, and I know it's going to be a lot faster, and I know I'm going to have to land it a lot harder. So I really didn't have a major problem with trying flaperons out on this because I think I may need it. And just for a little example, if I knock everything over here, just for a little example too, you can go in and reverse the flaperons and have them go up and basically just give you the brakes. I'm not about to try that on this little thing, so I'm gonna stick with flaperons, see how it works. I'll give you guys a flight demo, and I'll also give you a follow-up video on how to set up your radio to make this particular plane work. And unfortunately, just like the Corsair, I believe my Corsair also has an AR500 receiver in it. I know it does. Now the P-47, it's got the 6-channel receiver. I could do flaperons on it if I want, but I'm about to install full flaps and full retracts on that, so I'm not even worried about flaperons for that plane. I probably should have used the receiver out of my EDF here and put it maybe in the F4F or something like that, because I am thinking about getting a different receiver for my jet here. But if I do that, I'll throw it in the F4F and I'll hook everything up for you guys, and we'll go from there. But for now, with the AR500, you have to be able to sacrifice a port, and the only one on the P-51 that you can do, since it does come with a binded rudder, that's optional, is to use that port and program your radio, which, like I said with mine, I'm using a DX6i, and get her setting up and going. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. I did a lot of research on this. The 2 aileron ports on the receiver actually have a miniature Y connector inside the receiver. They are not 2 separate aileron channels. This is only a 5-channel receiver. So I'm sure you've heard or read a lot about that. That is completely false. The 2 ports are the same as hooking up a Y connector to one. So unfortunately, you can't use it that way and use your mixing and end up with flaperons. So figured out about the only way I can do it. Well, like I said, any questions, comments, anything like that, leave me a message or email or a comment or something, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. But I hope the flaperons helped with all you guys that had the questions with it. Once again, AR500 on the F4F will not work. If you've got a true 6-channel receiver, it's worth a shot, and I definitely can tell you how to do it. So let me know what you guys think, and I'll have the program video coming up for the DX6i coming up soon to show you how I did this for the Mustang.